Okay, I can go really far in my little life story, but I studied production management when I finished high school. So I started by really going to a 2 years diploma, which was really technical because I really wanted to go fast into the industry, and I was learning live action production management. But then I realized that in fact I did like studying, so I decided to go to Gobelin, where where you have a license, so 3 years after high school diploma, undergraduate diploma. And it was, is it okay? Are you hearing the dog barking
A
behind?
little bit, but it's totally fine. It's
Okay, it's all of his dog, I will say.
uh,
Sorry about
no worry.
Um, and yeah, so I did want to continue my studying, and Gobelin was offering a half part-time internship studying production management. And as I really wanted to be there, and I knew everyone wanted to do live action, I was thinking that if I said that I really want to do animation, it would be easier for me to go in the school. So in
Mhm.
fact, I was really seeing that, yeah, my dream was working in animation, but that was more or less just to go inside the graduation there. And and I decided to make my half part-time work there in a big studio, in a big CGI studio, which was Team 2. They produced Pyjamas and a lot of different TV
Tinto.
shows.
Yeah, I know Tinto.
Uh,
Yeah.
and I realized when I was there that was really not what I had in mind. Before I had internship in the cinema industry on sets and in TV, in one of the main broadcaster in France. And in fact, I was really surprised because I realized after 1 year of internship and what I was studying, like I was really passionate, but I was from what I was studying and hearing all the different stories, that I didn't have the same kind of pleasure when I was working. So after 1 year, I decided to just travel and trying to figure out what I will do with my life because I didn't know exactly what I will do. And when I came back, it was hard to find a job. It was like the crisis in France. And so I started to have a small job that was half part-time for one of the most important small organization in France for animation, which is LAFCA, the French organization to promote animation in France. And in fact, there I was working as a coordinator of l'Eureka, which is a network of all the French animation schools.
Mhm.
And there I started to be really, really passionate from what I was learning because in fact, I was more in the political side of the industry, of the animation industry. And there I was realizing that, okay, I was connected with the really artist schools,
Mhm.
the really industry schools, and I was working with the big studios like Illumination and Tinto Steel and like everyone who were hiring people in the industry. And we were just trying to figure out how we can make sure the studio can know who they are going to hire later on.
Mhm.
What, how can we help the parents? Because the schools in France are quite expensive for
Mhm.
animation. So helping students and parents to know where they could go and not go to CGI if in fact they want to draw or like things like that. So we had this position where we were helping everyone to work better together and helping the industry to grow. But it was only half part-time, really badly paid job, and I was living in Paris, so it was not
Oof. In Paris
uh,
is not
it was
not
not really affordable for like
affordable. Yes.
so Gobelin, where I was studying, had no one to send their films to festival, and they knew it was Moira Marguerite, and she knew that I was looking for extra job,
Mhm.
and she offered me to work 1 day per week also with them, and to send for them their films to festivals. So I was, of course, saying yes, and it was nice to go back to school and to go to Gobelin and having
Yeah.
this like it's a real school where a lot of people are always going through. So I was in LAFCA and then in Gobelin, and I was meeting all these people from the animation industry, and by sending the films to festivals, as I was before a volunteer in festivals, I kind of understand how it was working from the other side. So I knew how I can help them, how to receive the files, how to make their life better, I would say. And little by little, I started to work on how I can ease up everyone. And I understand a little bit how the festivals where you were selecting a film will impact to the life of the film. And I was also working after that with another school named Artefix, which is more a CGI school
I
based in
know the
Montpellier.
school. Yes.
And then I was asked by other people to send their films to festivals, and I still have in mind the idea that maybe one day I will be a producer. So I was thinking that maybe that could be the good way, to have sending films to festivals, like the way to get a revenue, and having the production part growing little by little and trying to mix that together.
Yeah,
So
because
in 2014, I've been graduating in 2010, and in 2014 I opened a company, and I was doing both. And I started to work with other schools, independent directors, some production companies. And in fact, little by little, the catalog of the film starting to grow. And in fact, there were really no one much on this market, so it was really easy to grow. And I was starting to trying to do the production. It was so hard because it's really not the same rhythm. If you compare it to distribution, you have deadlines every week. You just have to send the films to festivals. But production is like once per year, you have this big deadline, and if you are not succeeding, you're.
But you make it sound like it's easy, but I mean, sending films to festivals is a very involved full-time job, I will say. Like, yeah, because every festival has its formats, its ways, its formularies. I mean, and the deadlines. Yes, it's a. I did send some films, not to many festivals, but just to a few. I can probably count it with my hands finger, and it was like super like, oh, this is like super annoying to send and super difficult. I mean, it's worth to, but obviously if you want to have a run on like the big festivals and also big like a good festival run, it's a lot of time invested and money to send it.
I was paid for it, so that was easier. It was not my films because I'm not a director, and I was coming with Gobelin's catalog, so everyone wanted to have these films. So I was also in a position of power that, like, if I was missing a deadline, I was able to call the festival and say, "Oh, sorry," or just send an email and say, "Oh, you want this film, right?" And
can you do that?
So,
what?
Everyone's doing that. If sometimes it's happening.
I didn't know.
And, that's I was in a good position for doing this job, and also I think I'm really lazy. So I found a lot of ways to fast everything up. Like I'm not bad with computers, and I knew how we can ease everything up. And that's also, I think, one of the reasons of the success of the distribution. But on the side, the production part was like a failure. Like I understand little. Like I only produced one film that was live action, and I kind of lost a lot of money out of it. It's I did exactly what you should not do when you are a producer. I put my own money on it because I was really strongly believing in it. but the expectation that I was hoping for the film didn't fit what I invest. So at the end of the production, and I realized that maybe it was not for me. And I still have other films that I wanted to produce because I had a lot of love for these directors that I was following and growing with, and I was realizing that I will fail them, in fact, and I didn't know how to deal with that. And this is the moment where Emmanuel Alain Rénal, the founder and the main producer of Miyu Production, contacted me and told me that they wanted to open a distribution branch of Miyu. And in fact, it was just perfect for me because I realized that I knew their catalog, I knew their line, I loved what they had in production process, and they had a studio. Because also my main problem in the animation world was the fact that I don't know how to do animation. I mean, now I kind of know, but I'm not I don't go too deeply in the technique and
it's difficult. I will say don't worry about it because I've been working in animation for more than 20 years, and I'm specialized in mainly rigging or character TD for 3D animation. I was for a brief moment an animator, but terrible animator, and it's nowadays it's every single like technique or specialization, like if you use stop motion or you use 2D or any other, like they go so deep in the specialization. Like the person who does the puppets is not this person who animates, and the person who animates, maybe it's not the one that controls the camera, and it's like a DP doing this work and so on. So it's very hard, and I like it for me. Like I like if I was a 3D animator, I don't know how to animate in 2D and so on. So it's yeah.
yeah, but I mean, you are so tired with budget and stuff. Like I think I mean, I don't know. It's because I decided to just forget about production, but now I realize how fed up I am with budget of production. And I mean, I studied that, so and yeah, and now I'm so happy to realize that selling and marketing and it's what I like and how I'm making it. And in fact, I've been saved, I will say, by Emmanuel Alain, because when he made this offer, I was able to give him the projects that I was developing. And in fact, in less than 1 year, we finished one of the short films because also he did all the political job that I was fed up to do it. Also, like he was really good with all the French industry. He was recognized as a good producer. So whenever he was making, like in France, you have a lot of competition from the production business part because you have a lot of production companies and a lot of good ones. So and I think also is really good to helping directors to giving birth to their ideas so I think it was just a good partnership. And also Pierre Bossaron, my other associate, who is also working with Emmanuel, also have this more business skills that I didn't have and really help the production to grow. So we decided to associate the different companies. So in 2017, my old company became Miyu Distribution, and since then we have been like working all together. And one of the things also is the fact that we are not based in Paris with Miyu Distribution. We are based in south of France. We were in Arles, which is a small town. And now we moved in Montpellier. So we're not directly working in the same place of the production company, but it's helping us also to have this great network around France to meet all the artists and all the production companies that are around. And that's really exciting. And in fact, more or less at the same moment, we associate all together. It's really where the company Miyu Distribution were like starting to bloom. If I'm taking the image of the cherry tree right now, um,
Yeah, right time.
we we had in 2018 like 2 films nominated at the Oscars,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it was also a game changer in the life of the production company because it was not only the good offer that we made to producers, directors, and schools, it was also like we find a way to make big success, and that was a
Mm-hmm.
good point.
So
So
yeah, no, I was about to ask like how it works. Like just talking about Miyu distribution and Miyu production, like I'm very curious. Like so for what I understand, so you have like in the catalog you have like projects that are produced by Miyu Productions and you distribute it, and projects that are produced by other people that you take under your wing and distribute. That's correct. How it works.
yeah, exactly. Maybe I can just go a little bit to explain a little bit what we are doing exactly.
Yes.
So I think we have two parts of our work that is really different. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so we are sending films to festivals, which is almost like a work from an agent. Like it's finding a place for your films and where to broadcast your films. And also in that way, we are like it's a service. So we are invoicing people to do this job.
Mm-hmm.
In the other part, we are doing sales. So we are helping directors, producers to get a revenue out of their films. And most of the times, we are trying to figure out how everything can be balanced to
Mm-hmm.
be sure that
Okay.
everything go smoothly on the distribution part, and hopefully no one is like you will get revenue from the distribution part, but at least it will cover the both
Mm-hmm.
expenses. So that is what we are doing. So Miu Production has its own line, but really close line from what we like in Miu distribution. We love indie animation. I think we have a strong eyes for uh, high 2D animation, but not only. We also have stop motion, painting on glass. Like I would say that strong graphic, strong artist point of view is one of our lines. I would say that Miyu distribution is a little bit more mainstream because so we have more or less like 5 or 6 films coming per year from Miyu production catalog, and we are really trying to not have films that are overlapping because I think it's can really like also because we have this high position right now in the short film industry, and a lot of films from our catalog are doing really well, but we are really trying to have almost one film by genre, or at least not that much, and helping the films that are not collapsing to each other. So
Mm-hmm.
we have 1 or 2 films for kids by her.
Mm-hmm.
We have documentary short films. We have like we really try to avoid to have too much genre that will like people will watch the films and be like, oh yes, we will have this kind of films, and are not fighting together. And the way we're finding the short films out of the catalog of Miu Production
Mm-hmm.
is mostly people who approach us, but also we are going a lot in festivals, and we're speaking with directors, producers. We let them know that we like their work and we would love to follow what they're doing next, and just being sure that we know what's happening in the world of animation. And when I'm speaking about world, it's really we're looking for films from everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's interesting. So, so there's like normally the people, if let's say I have a short film and I'm looking to to have more exposition in more festivals, but it's difficult for me, and it's like you say, it's a full-time or like full-time job just to send to festivals and to have the exposition to your short film. So they can reach out, and you offer that service as a service, if I understood correctly, for people who don't have the time or don't have the tools properly to distribute the film. So that's one avenue. And other will be like, okay, I already am on the festivals, or I'm applying to festivals, and maybe this creator, this filmmaker, and you will approach him, say, okay, we're doing this so it's gonna be different, the services. Like if you try to get someone on your catalog, it's gonna be or if someone who is looking for this your service, your help, it's gonna be different in terms of how it works.
We are trying to do both all the time, because then it's avoiding, sometimes if we're taking people only for sales, it can happen, but in general, in that way, we know that people are knowing so much us for festival distribution, they will contact us anyway for having the films for the festivals. And if we are doing only festivals, we are missing out a big part of what we can bring for the film. And it's hard to have a two-speed job inside our catalog. We can do it, but it's not where we are the best. I think if we're working combined, like we're using also festival distribution as a promotion tools to help the sales. So for us, it's important to make it work. And for me also, like, what is the best if you want to approach us and be sure that we are doing the best job for the distribution part, is to come to us at the really end of the post-production moment, because it's when we know like the length of the film, we can help you with the big premieres, helping you with the strategy, and also going back to what you have been doing on the festival life. Like if you have already sent your film to 100 festivals and you're coming to us, we will just have to, fill up our big tabs where you already have sent the films and stuff. It needs too much work. If you compare it to just get a fresh film inside and just being like, okay, we're going to do that and stuff.
Yeah, that's important. Yeah, I always thought like also you need to know where to bring your film to which festival, because many festivals, they want the exclusivity of premiere. Like if you want to go to, for I don't know, Annecy, it's probably one of the biggest, but I don't think they require the but I think if you want to go like Cannes or Berlin or one of these, they want that it's the first time that this film premiere there. So, and depending of the type of film, I guess you probably know better, okay, this film maybe for the thematic or the style or some things, maybe it's more appealing for certain festivals than others. That's my guess, or I'm just guessing.
Yeah, I think it's really part of our job and what we're selling as an advantage to working with us. It's really like we know where to send your films, and it's sometimes you can see that as maybe like we are asking in general 2,000 euros to send the films to festival without the fees of the festival. So you can see that as a big expenses, especially if you are self-producing your shorts. But in the same time, it's just the time you are not spending on that, and it will be just a fast track also, but also helping you to get all this knowledge, I will say. And also, I think for animated shorts, like going to these big festivals, it's really hard. And because they are taking few animation, and if it's your first film, if it's you by yourself that is sending your film in these big festivals, it will be hard to get there, even if they are doing most of the time a great job as looking for new talents and stuff. Sometimes having a distributor saying, like, putting a spotlight on the work of a specific artist because they know it's exactly what they're looking for, that will obviously help you. But I mean, also we have also the frustration that sometimes people are looking for us just to go to these big festivals, and at the end we don't choose for them. So we will just say, okay, we know that you like before this film, like we know their tastes, so we can arrive and say, oh, I think you will love this film, but at the end we cannot force anyone to choose it.
Yes.
And I think also someone who really want to have this kind of direct entrance door for this kind of big festivals, maybe it's better to hire a PR that's especially working with us, because I think for us, the only thing that we will do, because it's people we are working with all the time, we will just offer the catalog, but we will not force them to do anything, because then we will never work with them anymore. So it's just trying to help them to understand the beauty of the catalog and help to make their work better. But we cannot force to get the films inside.
Yeah, and like you say, you helping with a PR and a little bit of marketing on the projects, and so it's not just sending, it's more involved, and obviously there is like the other part that I want to talk later is the distribution itself, because it's not only sending to festivals, for what I understand, it's also the distribution in other platforms, or
on the sales, we have been working a lot with the channels that are still buying short films. So you have a lot in France. You have also Movistar in Spain. We are working with platforms, but I mean, we did have some one big shots sometimes. Like we had a film on Paramount Plus. We are working with Criterion and this kind of channels, but it's not. We don't have a place where people are gathering short films to export them the way we'd love to, or if they do, most of the times they are buying quite cheap, so it's not where you're going to make most of the revenues. I will say that 50% of the revenues we're getting from films are coming from festival distribution. So that means it's when most of the time in your life, like in general in festivals, people are not paying for selected films. They are not paying rights for that. But it's when the film that's almost finished its life in competition and people want to program it, it's when we're making money out of it. So most of the revenues is like 50, 100 euros screening fees that we are asking for small places when they want to show the films. And I just want people to realize that, because I think it's like you have some big incomes sometimes arriving from TV. We have been also working with New York Times and the New Yorker. We're like broadcasting short films online, and that has been quite interesting revenue. We are also having a YouTube channel, which is called Bang Bang, a shot of shorts. And there we also find a way to make a little bit of money for short films. But it's only like when the films are like having a lot of views, and most of the time it's from other YouTube channels than ours. And it's only for films without violence, sex, drugs. So
all the fun is gone.
It's mostly not what we have in our catalog, right? It's we are really focused on indie animation shorts. So we always have boobs and pussies, and at the end we cannot monetize them. So this is a little bit of frustration, but in fact we still have like revenues out of it. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I was thinking also like your catalog it's in Vimeo on demand. I don't know. This is something I wanted to ask. Like, how I was like few years ago when they announced Vimeo on demand. I was, oh, this is it. This is the hope. This is what we were waiting for. Like a platform where we can monetize and get revenues. And but I think unless from Vimeo, they are not like looks like they're diluted. They I think they moved the business model to offering like other like kind of back end services for video streaming, and it's like the platform like at like if you go Vimeo, it's even on the website hard to find where they sell the Vimeo on demand. It's you need to normally I Google it and then I found the link because it's I don't know where to find it at and oh yeah, it's there.
I don't know either. No, I mean, we only use it most of the time. Like, we're not that good with Vimeo on demand. Like, I can see that the last film that we put there is Christopher at Sea, and I think we didn't even have a post about it, and like a social media post. We had a big success to put our films on video on demand with Bestia, and when we have films nominated at the Oscars, this is more or less when we're making real revenues. I think there's distributors who are better than us on this. But truly, we can improve. Like maybe I can speak about my team because maybe it
Yeah,
will
sure.
help understand how we are splitting the work. I'm going to share my screen. So maybe I can do that like that. Yes. So in fact, I think it's a good way to understand how we're working out. I think one of the biggest problems that we have now is the fact that we are too specialized in what we are doing. So it's asking a lot from our side to have a lot of people to working on. So we're still in the short film industry where you have revenues and you can make a living out of it, but it's really always tight to find a good balance. So I will try to explain that. So from the festival distribution side, we have Laure Boisgen, who has been working with me since 2017. So she's my oldest colleague. And she has her own teams that she's managing to be sure that the festival distribution is done well. She's assisted by Vincent Antonini, who is dealing with all the material and all the technical problems that we can have during a festival distribution. Because digital is marvelous, but in general, we always have problem with DCPs, what we are sending to festivals, and he is there to helping out on this part. And we have two people half part-time between school and festival distribution, who are Jules Belladier and Zinem Karoubi. And Zinem is in fact also assisting Annabelle Sebag. Annabelle Sebag used to work for Premium and Autour de Minuit, and we hired her in September 2020 when she's so great. She has been doing sales for animated shorts for the last 10 years, and I'm really happy to have her on our side. And she's the head of sales, and she's knowing a lot all the different partners who can buy short films and how to make them living around, and having her on Miyu side is really helping us to professionalize what we are doing. And we have Annabelle Baudry, who joined us in October, and she's doing all the administration, like all the little sales. She's doing all the invoices, and it's so great to have her on our side. And we finally find someone for communication and graphic design this year, because we have been seeing like that's always have been something that we tried to professionalize, but it was hard. So now we have Angéline Terpent, and she's the one who are doing all the communication on social media, and this is like having finally the expectation that we had in marketing and distribution, finally having a place where we can professionalize that inside the company is great. And she's also here half part-time. So that was a big step for us inside the company to arrive at this number of people. And I think we're almost there. Like, I think we will not grow more, but it's still a big pressure on the market and how we should like make everyone living from what we are doing. So that's my year
Yeah,
goal, trying to figure out the good balance.
but it's amazing, like to know, like it's not, yeah, because the people maybe see you on the podcast and think, oh, okay, so it's Luce only doing all this stuff, but no, it's a full team working for you to help to get eyeballs on your films. That I guess is the ultimate goal, to see to reach the audience and to get people see your work, because that's something I'm sorry, I'm just jumping all over the place, but it's something like, it's because really, like, I don't know if we were commenting this before before recording or during the recording, like there is a lot of films produced nowadays, like there's a lot, and with all the plan, like you have YouTube, you have Vimeo, you have many other platforms that you can distribute like directly, like let's say on the internet. And then I think the festival, I'm not following too much on the how many festivals there are, but I know by a fact that it's way but orders of magnitude more than the festivals I know. Probably I know just a bunch of festivals, but there's a huge like circuit of festivals that you can access. And but also, like, with all this fragmentation, and especially with we're talking about short films, that it's very difficult that the people get to see your film. Like for me, when I went to Annecy, I when I was living in Barcelona, I used to go every year. I missed this festival so much, and the thing is, I know it's gonna sound horrible right now, but the official last years I went, I was getting the tickets, like my lowest priority was the official competition, unless I know one or two films that I really know that I want to see, because sometimes we're like a hit or miss for me, unless for my test in official competition, because there were some films that were like difficult to see for me, and I love it if there's one or two, but sometimes it's because you don't know the films, it's kind of like okay, I'm gambling. Okay, I cannot get maybe it was, I don't remember, but maybe it was 4 or 5 passes of official selection, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I don't remember. And maybe you cannot get tickets for everything, so you need to random choose which one I want to go. And then I realized, oh no, and then there was another one. Oh, you saw that one? Oh, and so my point here is like you need. I mean, it's not enough to get to the festival. It's the audience somehow needs to know your film a little bit, so when they go, unless for festivals like this, which passes they need to choose to see your film, because if not, it's completely random. No? So I ended up, I remember last year's going maybe for feature films and commercial, like TV specials and things like that. So I knew more or less what I'm watching. And then all of competition was also like, I found sometimes like very interesting. I will not say more than official selection. I don't want to be that guy, but sometimes was.
I mean, I think the easiest way is to watch what you like to watch, because then it's helping your test to improve and just figuring out what you like. I think for us, I mean, for me, it's like finding where your film, like helping directors to find where their films can work in festivals is a way to helping them to find their tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I compare the different films that I have from my catalog,
Mm-hmm.
I know obviously that Canary is not going to work the same way that, for example, if I'm taking another CGI shot that we are distributing, but totally different, like Backflip by Nikita Diakio. Because what we can see is one is really indie, weird storytelling, kind of documentary-ish, with some experimentation inside. So the way that I will market it, and I mean, Nikita is quite famous in his in the animation indie world and also in the world of live action and experimental. So we know that people are already waiting for him, but the way we are going to think is the fact that, okay, speaking at the first person is doing an experimentation using his own experiences. So for us, it will be a documentary, experimentation, animation, and of course, we will go to more general festivals. And we will target the indie ones. With Canary, what we loved about the film is really the quality of the CGI and the universe. And I think we are missing out great short films for all audience that can entertain everyone. Like I love the fact that the film is scary and we love to scare kids in general. So that's also one of the goals that we had with Canary, and we knew that we don't have that much these quality films for mainstream audience, I will say. And there we will target the mainstream festivals, family festivals, kid festivals. Not only, of course, because you also have, for example, in Clermont-Ferrand and other big festivals, some young audience places. But we know that like both films are really different, and this is the way we are working with our catalog. We know there will not overlap, even if at the beginning of their lives, both films were in Toronto Film Festival. So it's also this magic where you can arrive with a lineup with really different kind of films, because you know that at a certain point, people will like the films differently, and of course, they will like some of them better, but still, it's offering a big scale of all the experience that you can have with short film in animation. So for us, it's quite interesting, and to help the people, like the audience or people who want to watch films, I think it's like you don't have the same lineup from one festival to another one. And I think it's also the beauty of it is to know that, for example, if you are really into graphic design, you will love to go to Pictoplasma because you will have all these lectures. If you are going to ANSI and what you are looking for is getting inspired by images and new kind of maybe it's maybe not the international competition where you will have maybe more experimentation or different storytelling, but you will be amazed by the commission films, obviously. But I think it's
the commission films. Yeah, I just well, first a shout out to Peach and Ben, the directors of Canary, good friends of mine, ex-coworkers. And fun fact, the last time I've been in Annecy was with Peach. I was working on at Shed with him, and we did this Christmas kind of mini short film for the clients there, but we were selected on the like the commercial section on Annecy that year. It was very, very, we didn't win anything, but it was very, very interesting experience. And the only thing is the worst section to be selected because they don't pay you the hotel or anything. All the other sections you get the hotel or less.
It's because commission films are people who have a lot of money, no?
Supposedly,
No, I'm
but
looking
not
at
the
the way
case.
you're imagining from the short film industry.
Anyway, yeah, yes, the fun anecdote there, I think.
Yeah, I know that, I mean, how can I say that? Like, there is an unfair world in the festival world because, for example, the kid films, most of the times they don't get invitations. So that means the director are not able to come and present their films in general.
Mm,
Um, but it's also the place where the films are going in general to have the most selections or at least the
mhm,
most screenings because it's for kids.
yeah.
So everyone need good contents for kids. Commission films in general are the one that has been also really well broadcast online and stuff because it's their goal is to promotion. So there's this kind of inequality in festival world, but I think it's quite good balance from the reality of the lives of the films. I mean, maybe I'm too optimistic, but I think there is like kind of
Yeah.
justice kind of way of being exposed. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah,
Maybe
but
my dream.
yeah, it's true. I think, well, when it tends, like, if it's more like aimed for kids, or like these TV specials. I remember like these Christmas specials and things like that. That yeah, it's, you have like exposition on the festivals, but at the same time it's more commercial-ish kind of thing. So the festival probably, they, I mean, they're looking for something that is not necessarily commercial, because the audience will see this in some point on TV or somewhere else. But like films that are not easily accessible, or they are more less mainstream, that I think is also like the appeal of going to a festival as a spectator. It's to find these gems that you cannot get easily somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, like since Love, Death and Robot has been out,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I've been like I've been living this kind of frustration because I'm so happy that people have been able to watch different kind of animation and be amazed about the different techniques and being like, oh, you are doing short films like Love, Death and Robots. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm really happy for the studios and the quality of the animation that have been exposed
Yeah.
there. But in the same time, like I only watched some of the first seasons, and I know I'm not the target audience. I'm not teenage boys amazed by robots and wanting to
No,
see
are you
really
sure?
just thing.
Robots.
No, but I kind of like robots, but yeah, not
You're
all
just joking.
robots.
No, but I really love the what they doing. I really like, not all the short films they did. Like, I like the same, but I really love some of them. I like also like sci-fi and things like that. So it touched me very close. But that's true that I mean, that kind of format. It's what here in Japan it's called omnibus,
Okay,
and they have been doing this for many years. Like
okay,
Otomo, it's a big proponent of omnibus. He produced a bunch of them, like Robot Carnival, or um, Millennium. I think I can remember the one that was with Memories with Magnetic Rose, and how was the others? Well, they have like short films like this. So normally he produces and directs one of the short films, and the rest it's other people. And there are other like this kind of omnibus kind of approaches. I think the last one I saw was maybe probably I'm gonna say something that is not correct, but one of the latest ones that it's a few years back already. It's from Ponok Studio, that takes people from ex Ghibli or Ghibli, I don't know Ghibli here in Japan, and they did this like three short films in a kind of format, and they released it on
theaters.
on theaters. Or I had the chance in Studio 4 Degrees did a few years back also these short films. They did two, and I have the DVDs back in Spain, and I forgot the name of I remember the names of the short films, but and I had the chance to watch the I think it was the second or the first one on theaters here in Roppongi in 2008. That's it. So it's not like something that it's strange here in Japan, but I think in the rest of the world it's not that common.
I mean, in France, you have release of short films for young audience in theaters, so that's quite good. And also for directors and producers, it's quite
What
good
do you
money.
mean, young audience?
Young for children.
For children.
Uh,
Okay, so it's no, because this is for adults. I mean, this is not for
mm.
kids. Like
And
this
in
is adult anime.
2020,
Like yeah.
yeah. In 2021, I tried to do that because we had like an award from Unifrance and La Fête du Court-Métrage. So it offers like an amount of money to help us to release a program in theaters. But in fact, as it was, pandemic and it was complicated, like all the films were like going out at the same time. We didn't have a lot of exposure. And the program was named Plan cul la praline, which was like a play on word about, it was a sweet sex friends kind of play on word.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea was to have an erotic, fun, horror short film program around love and sexuality. And I thought, like, for me, it was my way. It was like, maybe people will realize that there is also another short film area that is not Love, Death, and Robot, but like the feminist, hipster kind of one. But yeah, I'm still hoping that someday some big programmers will realize that and be like, oh yeah, we should have that on our network because it's fun. But yeah,
but
still waiting for
I think the format it's having a less. I mean, the people is not that alien to this format thanks to the success of Death, Love and Robots. No, Disney Plus did these Visions from Star Wars that they just released the trailer for the second season. So the first season was all Japanese studios, and the second season it's more studios all around the world with different techniques, and still it's Star Wars, and you can like it or not. But unless the format is there and they're giving this IP to different studios, to different people to experiment and to do something different and fresh on that I think it's a good thing. Even it's very commercial. I mean, it cannot be more commercial than Star Wars. I think.
Yeah, I mean, at least I'm happy that the audience has the chance to discover different techniques and different way to have animation. I think in France and maybe also in Europe in general, we can see that indie animations is not coming out, like the success is not coming out from the films directly, but you have a lot of live action feature films where they're mixing, like they have a little bit of indie animation inside. You had, I don't know if it was Norwegian or Sweden feature films that was called Ninja Baby. That was really cool with some animation inside. You had also the first film of, oh my God, Céline Deveau, who made Le Repas Dominical Sunday Lunch. I don't know, it was a film that was in Cannes in 2018, I guess. And she made a feature films, and inside you have like also a lot of animation. It was more or less a voice in her head. And you can see that now, like for indie animation, they're like starting to be more and more in feature films in really particular part. And I think it will be also a way that it will help the audience to know about it, like in a more global approach, I would say. So maybe at the end, at a certain point, feature film for adults in animation will have success, and I hope one day more people will know about the great short
Yeah.
films that are around.
Mm.
And
Yeah, I think, well, I again just putting the example here in Japan, obviously there are a lot of anime films released in theaters. They're target more to teenagers or young adults, like, but there are some that touch topics that definitely it's not something I'm gonna go with my kids to the theater, because, well, even they probably watch more than they should at home because of me, but that's another story about parenting thing, I think. Anyway, changing topic. the But yeah, this definitely what I will love, like, to see one omnibus from Miyu Productions doing the rounds over the world, like a program like hour and a half, something like that, that you can go to the theater and see.
I would love that some distributors in Japan will help us to release omnibus from Miyu Production or Miyu Distribution short films. That
Yeah,
would be great.
to be honest, I don't know how they managed to pull out all these projects. To be honest, it's well, this is one of the reasons, because this podcast, I want to know how they do it, so we can copy and repeat or improve if we are capable to. But yeah, that's a interesting. Other, yes, sorry, we are going all over the place. I'm just checking here my notes that I think we hit all the maybe one of the bullet points that we want to on the at the beginning that we established. But one of the things I was taking notes while we were talking, maybe just going back a little bit, it's like when you say, like, okay, I have this short film, like, and for instance, I'm helping a friend of mine in Barcelona to produce for first his teaser for a short film. And let's say, if one of the things that we were talking, it's like, how can we promote the film from the beginning, so the people, like what I was, like the concerts I was commenting before on the how, like, because for instance, I just, sorry, going in circles here, but the I also work in game industry, and I see on the independent scene of the game industry, the way that they approach the promotion of indie games, it's very different, or I don't see that on animation. And I think there is a lot of in common to have that. They generate from day one a lot of, like, the community that they say, they share more the process, they engage with the audience early on, and they do that. And I feel in animation, obviously you cannot, it's different, because in animation, if you share everything, I mean, you're telling a story and you share everything, you lose a little bit the magic. In games, obviously you can share a lot until the player doesn't have the game in his hands and play it and have the experience by himself, it's not the same. So you have this huge difference, but in terms of promotion, I feel like sometimes they wait too late to start or to create this audience, or I will not say audience, but awareness of the existence of your project.
Yeah, I think it's linked. I mean, were you finished or?
Yeah, no, sorry, I was going around trying to convey the idea, but I hope I get it right.
I think the market is really different, and I think also there's a big differences in the world on the way we are doing short films, because I think it's totally not the same if you compare what is the market and how you can make short films, for example, in English-speaking countries and
Mm-hmm.
European countries. And what I know from Japan is also something totally different. Let's say if we are trying to divide everything, I would say there is countries where you have good fundings to do short films development for animated indie
Yes.
content, and you have places where you have to do it by your own.
Mm.
So, and the most the biggest example that we have is USA for this part. So I think if you want to make a short film and you are coming from Europe, you don't need to do this intern and beginning of promotion, because you only have to convince a small amount of people that your films is going to be great. So you have to find a good producer, you have to find where you are going to do it, the good partner, and if you already have been doing films before, it's easier to convince everyone that the next short film that you are going to do is the best one. And in general, the way you can get these fundings is to having already have been doing short films, and they already have a good life in festivals, and you can show that you are already a successful director, because you only have as gatekeepers institutions and that are well organized. And it's mostly like it's more a jungle if you are in English speaking countries / USA, because in fact you don't have the fundings. So one of the way to do it is, I think, more similar from what you can get from the video games industry, because there you will have to do crowdfunding, finding places, people who will be private funders, and there I think the biggest challenge is to show how the film will be a success later on, and that's mean from the internet, from like where you can gather the audience that will help you to gather more people, and there you will have to communicate better on the way you are going to do the short film, even if you still need to find a way to preserve the authenticity of what you are going through.
That's one of the things, and the other for me, my question was like the to create the awareness, like I was like, so that people know your name, or oh, this director or this creator, or oh, I know this project, oh, I remember saw that on my Twitter feed and now it's in this festival, I'm gonna go to see it, to watch it. So these kind of things, I think it's a little like hit or miss in animation, like many animation films, even with the funding or without the funding, their work almost in like kind of like secretive kind of cocoon, and then boom, someone comes and show this amazing film. But like I was saying, like sometimes you don't, even if you go to the festival, maybe you not ended up watching it because you didn't know it's amazing and you didn't know it exists, and there were a lot of options that day that you went to the festival. So
I mean, I think there is really good directors about promoting themselves, but I think as the necessity is less important because it's less part of the business plan. I think sometimes, and I think also the directors have this shame and worrying to be like speaking too much about themselves online, and that's also like, I don't want to push anyone to do social media work because I know sometimes it can be really hard, and I mean, sometimes someone who is really good to represent their films in festivals, it's sometimes better than doing a real not that good promotion online. But if I can give examples of people who are doing great promotion online, you have Tal Kantor from Israel, who made the Letter to a Pig. I think she made a really amazing job to promote her film online, and you have a lot of making of there, and you can discover a lot of behind the scene elements, and yes, she has been really great on that. And it's really, like a Letter to Pig is also a beautiful process of how to do animation with mixed technique between live action and animation. And the fact that the pig is so important in her film, she was like playing a lot of also with these images, and I think it was great. And you also have Brit Raes, who made this short film Catherine in 2017-16. And now she has a film running in festival named Luce and the Rock. It's for kids, and I think she made one of the most amazing marketing out of her film. Like she made tattoo and like she was in Nancy last year and she was tattooing everyone. Like, and she knows also to,
Tattooing,
uh,
like
yeah, like a tattoo, like a flesh tattoo, like a
real
water
tattoo,
tattoo.
like water tattoo.
No, not real,
I
not
imagine
real.
like do you want that I
No,
should
no,
put
no.
my character on your I mean maybe some people will, yeah, why
Yeah, I
not? I
mean,
know some people, I mean, tattoo like some animation.
that's
Yes,
hardcore marketing.
I'm looking here on the on Miyu a website. Like, yeah, I saw yesterday the letter to a pig, the trailer. I was looking for the other one, but I can't find it right now on the web. But sorry. But yeah, definitely it's yeah, I need to check all these.
I mean, it's really good example is to like if you want to know how to market your film, I think it's important to see, and also if you really wanted to see this film and you were really feeling that the film is the same kind of films that you are making, I think it's good to watch what other people have been
Mhm.
doing, it's arriving you, because I guess in that way, if you are like looking at that and trying to get inspired, not imitating, but getting inspired by this kind of marketing, that means you will reach the same kind of
Mhm.
crowd. That's a crowd that arrives to yourself. So I think it's a good
Mhm.
thermostat to understand where you are going. So yeah, I think
Nice,
it's
thank you for the references. And definitely I will check it out and add the links also in the on the description of the podcast episode. Um, I have another question related to that. Well, slightly. Yeah, it's. Do you know, or do you have examples of people are doing, like, and this is more like maybe business part of like they're doing like accessory products to his short films, like maybe they're doing like t-shirts or they're selling the DVDs or they're doing something else apart of the short film itself, like the that helps to finance and produce maybe this or next short film.
I think one of the examples that I have in mind. Um, oh fuck, I forget the name of the film. I know there is one film from USA that has been financed mostly because of the book out of the film that has been coming out.
Mm-hmm.
That was, I mean, for like Kickstarters in general, what is interesting is to have an object,
Mm-hmm.
and the film by itself is not enough. But then that means you are doing a book and a film same time, so that's also something you have to keep in
Yeah,
mind.
also Kickstart, it's a lot
Um,
of work.
yeah, and I mean, merchandising, like from our side, for example, we never push it on the way because we I think we like to have some pins or elements around our films, but it's more to have a like a bigger experience. But we didn't want to go somewhere where we are going to monetize that too much because it's still like doing something out that
Um,
what we are supposed to do.
mm,
And yes, of course, what is growing right now, but I don't know the numbers, and maybe I didn't speak enough about that. But Miyu production is like Miyu is a holding of companies,
mm-hmm.
and inside you have Miyu production, Miyu distribution. You have different studios that are around the world, not around the world, around France, and one in Belgium, in fact. But also we have a gallery.
Mm-hmm.
And for example, what we have been doing with the gallery lately,
Mm-hmm.
and I have no idea how it's working, so I will just say that, and that will
I'm
be
checking the
the
web
only thing
here.
that I will say is NFT.
Oh,
So
interesting.
people, like I know that Sawako Kabuki by the gallery is having her work sold there. I know that Nikita Diakur is also there. I know that there is artists who are finding their way there, but I think it's like social media in general. If you
Mm,
know how to promote yourself in this kind of places,
um,
maybe it's worth to check it
yeah,
out.
yeah.
But I'm not sure about how much it's taking time
Um,
and how it's working. And like for us as distributors, we are leaving really this part to producers, directors, because
mhm.
yeah.
I
we don't
understand.
want to
Yeah,
do more.
I was thinking while we were talking, like maybe at the Pictoplasma festival, that it's like it's not only animation. Indeed, it's animation is just a little part of all the whole festival. But I think the people that like the speakers that go to the festival and the people that go there, because there it's more this kind of character IP animation and other like physical. Yeah, I think maybe there are more people there are multidisciplinary in terms of how his projects come to life, not only on paper or on moving images, but other physical products. And yeah, I think maybe that was also a good reference. That yeah, sorry, I just talking maybe to myself this, but yeah, maybe it's a good stuff to check there.
I mean, I have no idea of what exactly it's something like how it's growing and stuff. So I don't want to
No, no.
speak.
I was asking just in case, like, if you have examples or if you know. But definitely, I understand that it's not your core or work that you do at Miyu distribution. So that's totally understandable. But there was, yeah, I think, yeah, that's been a great talk. And we hit more like past the hour mark, and I was checking here my notes. Do you think are we missing something on the original bullet point list of things? I think we think it was.
I can say, like maybe for people who want to contact us, like all our the information about contacting us are online.
Mhm.
We're receiving like almost one film per day, so sometimes we are taking time to answer, and we are really sorry about that, but that's how it's working from our side. So don't get frustrated if we are not answering you fast.
Yeah, I will add all the
There's a lot of
links and information to contact you and everything on the description. So hopefully some people will reach out after seeing the podcast. Even I don't know how many audience we will have, but hopefully a lot. Okay,
yeah,
so
and hopefully if you want to see more short films, check out our YouTube channel, Bang Bang.
yeah, I will add also links to
There.
that. Bang bang.
It's like 100 films online. So
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot.
we have a catalog of 700 films.
Oh,
I mean, since
I
a
didn't
long
ask for
time.
the numbers, but that's impressive. That's
It's
huge.
mostly the school films, that we've been working with and stuff. So that's how we arrived at this important number. But yeah, it's great to learn.
Thank you so much for the time and all the
Thank you very
wisdom
much.
and explanations today. It was amazing talk and a lot of, I think, super interesting information. Thank you so much, Luce.
To you, Mikael, and I hope everyone will learn things, hopefully.